Good morning, guys. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend, right? And the few things I want to cover today are some things that I don't usually cover in pre-market, but I was reading some things over the weekend that I came across, and in the morning I did some, as usual, I do my research, write some things down. But before we go over some things, number one, let's just look at some things, and then we'll go over SPX, right? So first, let's look at some things. If you guys go on finviz.com, right, and you guys go on futures, there are different sectors that they have here. All right, they got indices, energy, bonds, sauce, metals, meats, all the major things that go on in the world basically. Now, most of you guys only look at the Dow, S&P, and maybe Nasdaq, and some of you maybe look at the Russell, right, which you guys come across. But S&P obviously is the most popular for us because that's something that we've seen since we were kids, right, on TV, even though you didn't know what it was. But have you guys ever paid attention to Nikkei, which is from Japan, Euro Stocks 50, DAX, and VIX? VIX you guys already know, but these three. So let's just go over European sector for a minute here on Finviz, right? If we go over this, now you guys realize this, their downside is much more brutal than ours, I think, from 4,400 to 3,500. They almost cut down one third pretty much, right? And if we go on the weekly, their stock, like, that's a big fall that they've been having, while our indices, S&P was still kind of holding up. Now I do understand the stuff is going mainly in Europe, so they're likely to get more affected. But if we see a hold in Euro and DAX, now Mamba mentality, if you're listening, right? If we see DAX and Euro Stocks 50 hold, there's a good chance that American markets will even hold better. All right, that's something you guys need to understand if you guys correlate them together. All right, if this market holds, it's likely that American markets hold much better than DAX and Euro. All right, so keep an eye on these two. Start following them a little bit, and I think it will help you. So Euro Stocks 50 and DAX, if you guys just look at the charts, just analyze, and you'll see it. So far, S&P is still holding. You guys see that, right? We're still holding. We don't have the big red week. We did have one, but we don't have that waterfall follow through like the DAX or the Euro Stock 50. Now, two things. One, that we're likely going to get in the coming weeks, right? At the end of the day, it's a world market, right? So we might have that in the coming weeks if it happens, but at the same time we are at the strong support here. So let's see what happens here. All right, so let's see if this low holds for quarter one, and then the coming quarters we see what's going to happen. Now let's go over to grains. All right, let's go to grains. Now this is the stuff that all of you guys have in your home. Everything mentioned here, you guys got some corn in your house, you guys probably got some soybean, soybean meals. So oats, I eat them every day. Wheat, you guys all consume every day. Now these things, when you look at them, wheat, for example, we've been saying there's been a major squeeze for the past a few weeks, but this is crazy. This basically means this money is going to come out of your pocket, right? So wheat here, the futures it went up for 50%, more than 50% in the last 2 weeks, right? So what does that mean? In the coming weeks, all these people, retailers and wholesalers who are going to be buying these things, they're going to be paying a lot more, and that money is going to come out from your pocket, remember, right, in the coming months, and from which you're going to cut down your spending on maybe some of you guys wanting to buy a new Apple iPhone in the coming weeks. You might not buy it now because your income won't allow it, because all the money is going towards the needs for the house, right? So all these things that are going up huge, right? Oil, like, is crazy. But anyways, so just something I wanted to cover. Energy also, if you guys look, right, crude oil is up huge. So all these things, we are paying for it, and this is going to affect your spending on the, your wants, and those wants are the stocks that we invest in, right? Apple is not a need, it's a want. It's a need every 5 years, but some of you guys want that thing every other year, right? Now back to I'll go over to SPX, and we'll see how the market shares out. Now, number one thing on the SPX weekly, we are below the 50 MA on the weekly, right? This bound, it looks bullish. We always go over it when the market turns down, right? So if we go back in March 2020, some of you guys asked if we get a rally. Now, when some of you guys say rally, my only one question is, are you looking for a one-day rally, or do you mean like rally to the upside toward for the brand new highs? So I can sometimes kind of get confused. When LB says rally, I understand for him it's only a one-day thing, right? I understand that he's just looking for the one-day pop, boom, and then we short again. Now these rallies happen when the last time the drop happened. There will be some crazy rallies, all right? If you guys go into March 2020 and just study the charts, there will be some crazy rallies that are going to happen. But please don't get bull. I'm not stopping you from being a bull. If you think the market goes higher, that's up to you what you want to do, but I'm just going to try to tell the right thing. they made the market look bullish on every bounce, right? There were a lot of people that kept buying calls here, like people who just failed to understand the macro picture of the market, right? Where am I trying? People that failed to understand the picture, they just kept buying calls on these things. They kept calling bottoms, and they just completely got screwed up, right? A rally, we'll know when a bottom is put in, we'll have some sort of a hole, we'll have some sort of confirmation, and then we see what happens. But this time, I can tell you guys one thing. If the market does flush, it's not going to recover like 2020. That I just know it. It's not going to recover like how we recovered in the pandemic. So don't expect if the market falls that I'm going to buy calls. This time it's not the same. I hope you guys go back in history. You guys see how the market reacts after certain big pullbacks. Is it a V-shaped recovery or what exactly happens, right? But this time, the situation is different. There's inflation involved. There's a lot of high costs involved, all right? Because this money is going to affect a lot of companies, right? Our government can only give us so much money. They already gave enough last 1-2 years. And now what happens in the coming weeks? Just remember one thing. This 200 MA on SPX is far on the weekly. It is going to get tagged. Trust me, in the coming months, it's going to get tagged likely, right? Maybe in the summer, maybe at the end of 2022, maybe in 2023. I have no idea how it's going to happen, but this 200 MA is going to get tagged eventually. Right now, we're still about almost 1,000 points away. And trust me, it's going to get tagged, and you'll see it when it happens, right? As long as you continue trading. So for SPX here, the levels that we have, let's just go over the levels on the daily that we have now, right? So far, no, pre-market we recovered a lot. There was a lot of selling going on and a lot of buying. So here we have, so our first number last week, our main number was 4380, right? It's no longer 4380. It's actually 4325 now. Our volatility trigger says 4325. Our gamma report is nice and simple today. Just go read it. It'll clarify some things. And then obviously 4300, I think we'll open around here, will be our support and resistance at the same time. And then the next big support is at 4247, 4247, and then we have 4225, and then we have 4200 as our put wall. All right. And this week we might have a tight range again. There will be volatility, but it's just a matter of catching the moves, right? If you're a scalper, like Mamba mentality, then you're only looking for the next 10-15 minutes. Maybe you might have an overnight play, but if you're scalping, this is a gift. There's a lot of volatility in the market. Draw your levels. We've been doing a lot in our voice chat. So if you pay attention, you can catch some great moves. All right. So that's what I have for SPX. And then if I want to go over Dow also, is that industrial? I need the, where is it? Right. The last 4 weeks we have closed red pretty much. All right. Except this. The last 4 weeks, okay, this is futures, right? But we have actually been red. If Dow gives up these levels right here, just keep an eye on them. If we start building a bear flag here, don't be surprised if we get a big red candle down, right? Like the DAX and Euro, the one that we saw. There will be 1,000 point, 1,500 drop. That is possible. I'm not trying to scare you guys here, but it's likely going to happen, I think, and it's also going to tag the 200 MA, right? So in the coming weeks and months, maybe we rip 1,000 points this week, and next week, who knows? Maybe the market hits all-time highs. I have no idea. Right, if we get anywhere near all-time highs, I think it's just another short opportunity, in my opinion, for that time being. All right. Now, Bed Bath and Beyond. A lot of people, who were in AMC and GME the last 18 months, they had the squeeze, and then they sat there for all this time. This stock is basically going to bring back in all those kids that made some money. They gave back their money to the stock market. They went back to McDonald's or Burger King to work hourly, and now all the money that they got, as soon as they see the squeeze, they're going to come back in. This is the stock market. Stock market, once you start investing it pulls you back. You might quit for 1 year, but it's going to pull you back eventually because you're going to get tired of your job, and you're going to try to look for some easy money or make the money back that you lost, right? Bed Bath Beyond, we're right now at resistance, all right? I hope Ryan, he is the GME chairman, right? And then he also, Ryan Cohen, so he, revealed a 10% stake. But he already doubled his money, I think. If he bought the, BBBY here, he already doubled his money. So I don't know what he's gonna do, how his filings are. But be careful if you're chasing this name. Can this name go to the upside towards 5260 today? Absolutely. GME has shown us anything is possible. AMC has shown us anything is possible. So just be careful with this. There's a lot of resistance above 32, 33. A lot of people that bought this stock here, who were stuck, they might even sell this thing off. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not long or short, but It's a crazy rally that has already happened. If you were not in from before, be careful what you buy and sell here. Long or short, both. I have no idea, so it can go either way. All right. And Ram, congrats. He was in some BBBY calls, I believe, and he has sold puts. So that's amazing, right? You're gonna get paid big, right? Tesla, Tesla has some news from the Berlin factory. They were supposed to start their production in 2021, but now, with COVID, all the delays happened, and I think they just got their green flag that they can start now. All right. But as long as Tesla continues holding about this 50 MA on the weekly, which they've always respected, right? The last time they broke below this was a long time ago, I believe, and so it stayed around it. So 50 MA, as long as Tesla respects this, it can just continue building a nice little base here, and if the market turns, it can definitely run. We close below the 50 MA or sometime this month or next month, whenever it happens, then the bear case remains towards 600. All right, so Tesla here is very tricky. Just have to wait. For scalping is great. We trade Tesla almost every day in our group, right? So we don't care. Like as long as we get the moves, we're fine. But for long-term holders, this is a very tricky spot. It's very attractive and it's very not attractive. It's at the same time. But if market stays strong, if it holds, this thing can definitely run. And then Visa and MasterCard, they shut off their operations in Russia. This stock was giving us big hints, and now it's opening at 326. Bucky, man, honestly, when you were calling short here on MasterCard, I was kind of iffy that in case if it breaks out, then obviously the Russia, all the war news came in, how businesses were getting stopped. But he was calling puts here near all-time highs when the market was probably trying to go long. All right. So another amazing call. This is very impressive that how you were catching tops on these names, and I personally wouldn't believe that MasterCard would drop this much again because it just looked bullish. I did not play it, but man, that's a big move, right? And now with the Russia, Ukraine, and all these things happening, if MasterCard, this credit sector loses these levels, MasterCard has a long way to go down. But this stock, if we go on the monthly, does not really fall too much. It's a nice little uptrend, right? It's a nice little uptrend. But now, finally, after so many years, we're getting this toppy action, some big volume, and a lot of movement. So let's see how this works out. Maybe it wants to tag the 50 MA on the monthly, which is roughly 283, and I think it's possible. The way that the stock is looking is definitely possible. All right. And if these stocks go down, that's the first tell for the economy, MasterCard and Visa. Because how do you spend your money on MasterCard and Visa? Something is up. All right. Visa also same thing. Nice little head and shoulder pattern kind of confirming here. It might also go tag the 50 MA. All right. And then Oxy. It's funny, so Warren Buffett has a stake in here. Now the thing that some of you guys don't understand, he bought the company between around 47 and 50, his average on the Oxy. He bought this almost near the top. So what does that tell us? And he obviously, he's one of the best investors. He's actually the greatest investor of all time. And so that basically means this corporation is likely going to break out in the coming months and maybe go even higher. So that's what he's signaling in the coming months. His position is not for 1 day or 1 week, as you guys know him, right? Maybe for the time being, we might go sideways for some time. But basically, Berkshire Hathaway, they're expecting a huge rally in the stock. Currently at near resistance levels, but through this, what does that tell you, right? The same thing that we just discussed 10 minutes ago. And then C Bank, this has been downgraded at Jefferies. I was reading some bank news, came across this on CNBC, and they have some exposure in Europe, right, which they're getting hurt by, I believe, and broke down. But now Citi, if it holds above 55, it can probably build a base here. But if 55 level fails to hold, this has a waterfall all the way towards here. This bank is going to go all the way towards 40 bucks, I think. And it's going to happen fast, in my opinion. If the banks take a hit and we get the second big leg down, they might base it here for a while, but it's just going to be a gap up, down, nice little gap up, gap down, nice little gap up, something like this across the line. It's already happening, actually, if you guys look at this bank, right here. All right, so something like this. Okay, it's possible. They fall, a little gap up, they fall, a little gap up, they fall, a little gap up, right? It keeps getting stuck. So keep an eye on this name as well. Bitcoin, I want to go over Bitcoin USDT. I want to go over the weekly. Last week, another selling volume, but this stock has just been holding on to a lot of support here on the trend line. All right, so keep an eye on this name. It's kind of bear flagging. If we hold this here, fine. Crypto, I think it's a different. Sometimes it's related with the market, sometimes it's not. Last week I saw a lot of connections and disconnections with the market, right? So if BTC breaks 35K level, it might also come and test all the way towards 20,000, which is possible in this market, right? So here is very iffy. Does it come down there or not? I have no idea. All right, but it's just something that I see on the chart is possible. So far, they've been holding the higher highs, right, and higher lows, and now we see if this area is held and we reverse back up. All right, so keep an eye on Bitcoin as well, because that will be a major tell. And Apple, a lot of puts were bought in this name for in this month, this coming months, and I think Apple is one stock which is gonna give up shortly, in my opinion, right? A nice little uptrend, but I mean, if we hold above 160, if 160 level is held, we can continue basing, and maybe we rip out when the market is strong. All right, so that's Apple, but 160 breaks, watch out. If we break 160 and hold below, watch out, then Apple's gonna have a nice little hit. All right, it's a $3 trillion company, huge market cap, and then even if a few hundred billion come out, if the market gets scared or the fund's gonna go cash, then this has a long way to go. But definitely one of the best companies in the world, there's no doubt. With this, just manage well, guys. No need to rush. Monday, first 15 minutes, I just want to watch. Do we go green and do we go red, or do we continue the gap lower? Who knows? Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon on voice chat.